Let's talk about using compression. So in a Logic Pro session, you might have something like a lead vocal. And as you can see on this lead vocal that some of my signal has some pretty high peaks compared to these very low parts of the signal, like here compared to here. So with a compressor, we're going to attenuate these louder portions while not affecting these lower portions, and then we're going to turn the whole signal up so that it breaks, stands out in the mix more. There are a few main parameters that you want to ensure you understand about compressors. One is the threshold. And if you look at this, this is a representation of a signal like that vocal. Your threshold is just the level that you set. So once the signal exceeds that level, you turn that part of the signal down. So it's not going to affect anything below that threshold. It's just going to attenuate this top part, thereby getting the louder portions closer to the lower portion. Once your signal hits that threshold, the ratio is the amount of compression that the compressor is going to give to the signal from input in relation to output, and just to the stuff that goes above the threshold. So if I say I have a 2-to-1 ratio, for every 2 dB above the threshold, I attenuate the signal 1 dB. And then attack is just how quickly the compressor kicks in once you exceed the threshold. And then once the signal falls below the threshold, again like here, release is how quickly the compressor stops working. So depending on your signal, you may have a faster attack and release like a snare drum, or maybe a slower attack and release like a stringed instrument, right? And something about medium for a vocal. Makeup gain is just the gain that you make up once you attenuate the signal. So you can see all of those. There's your threshold, your ratio, your attack, your release, and your makeup. We don't need to talk about knee right now. But I'm actually going to turn my threshold all the way up. So it's going to raise my threshold above the signal. I'm just going to do a very fast attack, a very fast release, and I'm going to give myself about a 4-to-1-ish ratio. I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to make sure that I have this loop where the vocals are peaking. This vocal start to sing. And as you pull that threshold down,
may never come.
You're going to see attenuation here.
These years
There's about 3, maybe 4 dB of attenuation.
Have come undone.
And that's about all I want. And then I know since it's a vocal, I'm going to probably put my attack around 20 milliseconds, my release around 100 milliseconds, just from having experience. You can play around with that. And I'm going to use about the same amount of makeup gain as I do of attenuation. So let's take a listen with and without compression.
And your fears may never come.
There's without now.
These years have come.
So as you can see, basically it's going to turn down those louder parts so it's closer to the quieter parts, and when I play this whole track, you would hear this section and these little sections much more clearly.